say stuff.
Point at you.
Well, does pointing work when I'm looking into all the weird stuff in here? I want that Godzilla. 2001. Look at old Batman pop. I don't know if that's necessary.
No.
But color-wise, I think I'd paint it a little bit and turn it into Catman. Hello, interwebs. I can't breathe. And this is F3G2. And I'm going to talk about some fine quality comical books. Starting with the Batman Animal. It's annual. Batman Animal number 2. And in Batman Annual number 2, Date Nights, Last Rites, we continue everybody's loving trend throughout time anyway, but ever since, holy crap, since for the longest time in Batman over like the last 5 years, they love to do these glimpses into futures that all contradict each other. This latest one actually has, I won't say happy, but a much more peaceable ending and a capital ending for our Dark Knigget. Really, really good. There are parts where you're almost tempted to say the Bat's a little too human, but that's really the way, you have to catch yourself in those moments and go, no, this is good, because Batman is I don't just mean, of course he's human, but Batman is, a underneath it all, he's just a damaged person. So it's good to see him get these moments, and it's good to see people break away even within the obvious darkness. I mean, it's all very Lee Weeks and noir looking, but everybody always does the over the top. So it's nice to have those things that, the way Batman relates to Damian, the way Batman cares about the rest of his Robins, and the way Batman deals with Alfred, and the way Batman deals with Catwoman. And this is also great to see the way Catwoman deals with Batman. It's so good. It's so good. Just read this, and it's like I can't remember the story I was going to compare it to. Like, it feels done properly in Bat time, if that makes sense. Holy Bat feels Batman. Aquaman Animal number 1. What Dreams May Come. We meet Aquaman's son Tom, or do we?
Surprised they didn't go for the pun with that one.
It is Aquaman's starting to deal with something that the rest of the Justice League deals with one by one. It is a new take on the Black Mercy. Apparently, it has no problem growing under salt water. And yeah, the Black Mercy, by showing you what your heart's desire, and then sure, eventually it's designed to kill you, but since our heroes are always escaping, it's almost worse that in order to free yourself, you have to destroy your heart's desire. And Aquaman and Mira, it's rough, but it's good. It's so good. Look, I had the little baby kid from the Tomari planet, and her name is I don't remember what, but Ganthet and Saeed encounter, and several other of the Templar Guardians are somebody's taking them down, somebody's abducting them. Who could it be? I could tell you if you want the spoiler. It is the return of the Controllers, and it's like Controllers Rebirth. And Venditti's doing really, really well on this. I mean, he's been on Green Lantern for quite some time now, but it was always kind of touch or go, and always kind of just shy of greatness under the New 52. And Rebirth has been great. I think it freed up a lot of room for Venditti to really hit his stride, and that's good for everybody. Kaiju Max. Oh, don't fall in love with a kaiju because he will play you because he's a screwball monster. Oh, this is a heartbreaking issue though. Aside from our pain in the ass main bad guy, little goat monster, son of Satan. He's got a. I'm sad. Bad things befall. Literally, one of my favorite little monsters, who I really thought was coming along, but doesn't pay to be a kaiju that's sensitive. You know how it is.
That's just asking for heartache.
It's just, especially if apparently, there's some weirdness about reverting you to your true form, which isn't quite as kaiju-ness as you'd want to be.
Usually aren't.
Read that so we can go over here. Super Sons Animal, literally this time. Annual number 1. The Super Sons are barely in it. It's the Legion of Super Pets, and Streaky is back in DC continuity. We get Detective Chimp. Apparently, Streaky and Crypto had a falling out. Down to, like, to tell you the truth, I don't know if Streaky would even talk to you anymore, Crypto. If I were her, I wouldn't. And it shows Crypto looking down because he's a sad little puppy. But he has to bond. And we don't get the return of Clay Critter, but apparently the Super Pets includes Flexi the Plastic Bird, Bat Hound, Clay Critter, Crypto, Bat Cow, and Streaky. Bat Hound, they use Titus, even though we do see Ace, but he kind of stays back. And they go to deal with missing pets. It's basically DC's. I mean, DC always had the Legion of Super Pets, so technically, Marvel's Lockjaw and the Pet Avengers was their answer to DC's Legion of Super Pets. But this Super Pets, it feels more reminiscent, set the way it is in the modern day, to Marvel's, where the super animals kind of get together to do their own thing. Which is what the Super Pets always did in the Silver Age, but this is less silly Silver Age, although, for what it is, it's obviously silly. I feel bad they left Ace out. I think, I think he could have, but it was nice to see. I'd wondered what the hell was up with Titus, because we'd seen Ace lately in the Bat books, and Robin's always flying around on Goliath. I had no idea. I'm like, what happened to Titus? Nah, they just... For a guy who swears he's a loner, Bruce Wayne's house is just full of fucking life. He's got 4 sons that are always visiting. His father figure butler.
A menagerie.
His cousin who dresses just like him. Barbara when she's in. Now he's got his whole team over in Detective. With, Spoiler and Clayface and. Batwing and everybody over there, and then there's all these pets, 2 dogs, several mice, thanks to Catwoman in the annual. It's just a cow. Everything's everywhere. Catwoman. Sword of Ages by Gabriel Rodriguez. This book is so good. Look how beautiful that is. Art wise, it's got that whole kind of young Barry Windsor Smith meets young William Michael Kaluta feel. It's beautiful to look at, and that saved it. The beginning, I was reading, and I was like, okay, everything is broken down into like little 2-book chapters. It's very exposition-y, and I get that it's the first issue, but it seemed like this was just going to be the way it was laid out. And there's a bit in the beginning where I never could figure out if they crashed or what happens, but it's a kind of sci-fi King Arthur. The ship is the Pendragon, and the girl's name is Avalon, and she's like the Arthur type. But at about on page 3, we see these like saber-toothed tigers. By page 4 and 5, they're talking and raising the girl. So that's cool. Yeah, that piqued my interest enough to get me through. I really just love this page. All the pages are beautiful. But we've got a gender swap on Avalon, the King Arthur type, is the Pendragon figure. Is she's the girl in this one, whereas Morgan Le Fay, so far just called Morgan, is he's the so they've swapped the roles there. Other than that, everything. Merlin is a motorcycle riding. It's like post-apocalyptic, bizarre future in Planet of the Apes-ian. Barry Windsor Smith meets William Michael Kaluta-esque
Just a proper
Pendragon in space.
fantasy
and,
science mashup.
I'm very happy with it. So check that out. Teenage Mutant Ninja Ghostbuster Turtles. Mostly, I'll admit, I've grown so in love. I don't know book kiss about turtles. My cousin loved them. The power went out, or the light turned off because we held still too long.
Hang on.
Yeah, it's just the light went off because we held still too long.
Keep talking. Can't see you yet, but keep talking.
So you mentioned Ghostbusters. Everything goes dark. What? I was never a big Turtles fan. I don't know much about them, and I've learned to live with that. But this has a handful of artists. I'll admit, I mostly trundle on for the
Darkness.
for the Shonen pages because I love the way that those Ghostbuster pages look. But it continues to be. We've got they're teaming up again. The criminal boss that Splinter had put down in Turtles has become a ghost and is seeking his revenge. He's just absorbed some of the elder ghosts and is now they're all him. So that's problematic. And which was it Donatello that died? Which turtle was dead for a while and was in a robot?
I haven't kept up with the book consistently.
He and Egon discuss what death was like since they were both dead.
It had to be Donatello if he had a conversation with Egon over that.
U.S. Avengers. This is the end of the U.S. Avengers, making way for the big Avengers storyline that's just going to destroy everything as we know it and then set the Avengers back up. Some weird stuff with a planet of Skrulls that have kind of based himself off of the Archie comics. And
I actually remembered the scrolls.
and that's how it goes. And I'm sad to see it go. I'm glad to see some of my characters move on. Shmen. Blue. This is where they're going to go, and they're going to end up with some form of Xavier. Also, Iceman's apparently, he's kind of a dick to Bloodstorm, which is not cool. And really weird to just make of all characters Iceman be kind of a dick. But hey, it happens. Art wasn't bad, but it wasn't like great, so it was mediocre there. But all in all, Justice League America Annual #1, Lobo and Black Canary going to space to fight the worst person ever. Another Zarnian with really bad hair, who is pissed because aside from, Lobo killing his mother, when Lobo killed all the Zarnians. We get a slight throwback into continuity of some of the old school Lobo miniseries, including the old lady teacher that Lobo couldn't stand, Mrs. Trib, which is why Lobo has turned the word Trib throughout the universe as an insult. And this is her son seeking revenge by trying to go genocidal on Lobo's beloved dolphins. And a sort of semi-understanding between Lobo and Canary. I read it for two reasons. The Kelly Jones art, and the fact I keep trying to give them the benefit of the doubt with, what they're doing with real Lobo. But it's good. It's still, there's just something that prevents greatness. And one of the things that did throw me was the last. I was betrayed by Kelly Jones, who gave Lobo all of his scruff, but what people seem to forget, and Kelly definitely forgot, is that Lobo's the black around Lobo's eyes and that biker mustache looking thing that Lobo has are actual coloration. That's part of his skin. It's colored that way. It's not actually hair. Yeah, later they gave him stubble to go with it, but this isn't actually hair, and neither is this. So he just looks off to me in his just scruff without that. It threw me. Not a big complaint, obviously, but enough to throw my small, petty, pedantic guys. Darkhawk. Part 1 of 1, Darkhawk 51. Brings Darkhawk back, but literally that's all it does. There's some setup for potential news stories, but most of this is... Remember when they used to do those books? I forget what they were called. Not Legacy of the Marvel Universe, but History of the Marvel Universe. Is that it? Where they would kind of do like a condensed timeline and just kind of sum up. Here's like 10 years of Fantastic Four. And here's
I think it was history
with Spider-Man. Well, this is just that. It's just a summary of Darkhawk's existence in the Marvel Universe. So.
Most people would need that.
I like Darkhawk. I mean, hey, he's a former New Warrior, but but it didn't really give us much. Mystic U, I liked book 1. Mystic U starts with now, and badness has happened. So in a last-ditch effort, our fallen magic types cast a spell to give them a new beginning, to start over. And it turns out one of the mystic types is going to turn into this evil thing or bring about this evil thing that will end them. So, poof, suddenly they're at like the DC answer to Hogwarts. Mystic University, where Zatanna's learning about her newly formed magic. And along with her are a reimagined Sargon the Sorcerer, June Moon, who sometimes is a sweetheart and sometimes is a young enchantress. And as they describe him in here, the mandatory stereotypical self-proclaimed bad boy, Sebastian Faust, who makes me happy that the return of Sebastian Faust here and in the Super Sons annual, we had the return of Paul Pelletier, who drew that run of The Outsiders that I loved so much. So this introduces you to our crew, introduces you to our school, our concept, and a magical, otherworldly, sentient glob that goes from mystery to antagonist to victim to new pal. So, really, that's all you need from me.
Okay.
John Wick, #1, was... First part, I was like, it's a bit... Oh, but by, like, page 4, this was literally just like reading a John Wick movie. You hear everything in his... It's really well done. And the art, while drawing that photorealistic style constantly is, you know, is hard. There's not a panel where you can't just see that it's John Wick. And we're getting flashbacks to John Wick's origin, how he became and he's kind of out there. It's so good. It's really so good. Read Dynamite's John Wick. And that leads us to absolutely nothing. Done with these. So I will see you in a week, I guess. Bon voyage.